Hi there, Lindsay here, the Frugal Crafter. Today we're going to take a look at the June 2020 Smart Art Box. These are so fun to get, especially this time because you can't go to any stores. At least all the stores around here are closed, so it's nice to get your little art fix in the mail. And I think this would be really handy if you're a homeschool parent trying to think of an art curriculum for your kids, keeping them active during the summer or long periods of school on hiatus. It's just nice because it gives you something, a starting point and something to do and a way to explore new materials. So this month's box is water media, and it comes with, of course, the brochure that gives you some project pointers, ideas, and information about the supplies that are included. And it also contains these three Aqua Flow brushes by Lngnickle. They are basically a brush with an empty barrel with three different size tips. You fill them with water. You could also fill them with ink too. So if you wanted to fill them with any sort of ink, that would be fine, and you'd end up with like a marker, a paint marker basically. And I like to use them with water, but you have options with those. We have a plastic palette, also by Lngnickle, and these are great. You wash up really easily when you're done, especially with watercolors. And these are three watercolor inks. They are the Aqua ink by Marabu, and I've tried a couple of those before in a previous Smart Art box, and I really like them. This one has a kind of a pinky red, an orange, and a yellow. Now, like I mentioned, you could put these in those water brushes if you wanted to. I didn't do that because I prefer to put water in mine, but that's definitely an option. If you do that, make sure you cap them when not in use and you keep them tip up in a cup so they don't leak. Now we also have some markers. These are the Aqua markers from Spectrum Noir, and I had their first version of these markers when they came out a few years ago. They have improved them. They've improved the brush nibs in particular, and that's really nice. They also have modernized the barrel, and you've got a fine tip on one end and a brush tip on the other. The fine tip end is indicated by the collar, that little white stripe. There is a water-soluble graphite pencil here, so you can sketch with it just like a regular pencil and then add some water. So you could use your water brush, you could use a brush and a cup of water. It's totally up to you. It comes with a sticker, as with all Smart Art boxes, and a candy. And as our last item, we have a Hahnemulhe Harmony watercolor block. And watercolor blocks are really nice because you've got a stack of watercolor paper, kind of like a pad, but it's bound on all four sides, and it just has like a little unbound gap where you can put a knife in and you can slice off that top sheet. I recommend using like a clean butter knife. That works really well, or a palette knife. And I really love Hahnemulhe paper, so I was pleased to see that that was included in the kit. And there you might be able to see just right on the top, there's a little arrow indicating where that's where you would slice that paper off. So I thought it'd be fun to get started just by kind of swatching some of these materials and see how they look, and then we will plan our art piece. Okay, we are going to time-lapse this swatching situation here. I have filled my water brushes with water using a pipette, and I'm also going to use a pipette to put my colors into my palette. These are liquid inks here. These little pipettes can be purchased at any art supply store, or you can use an old eyedropper. Just wash it out between colors, rinse it out, and you're going to be good to go. You can also use that palette by scribbling your markers in the wells, and you can make a palette with your markers that way too if you want more of a painterly look. Now I thought I would just kind of swatch out these inks and see how they looked, because sometimes it can be deceiving. Like that red looked kind of more of like a fiery red, and then once I swatched it out, I could see it was more of like a magenta. Now for the markers, what I'm doing is laying down a swatch of the color with the brush end and then just adding water to see how well they dissolve. These markers dissolved really well. Even the tricky colors like purples and reds, which don't tend to blend out very well, they blended out just fine. But a tip for this, if you're working with markers and you're having a hard time blending them out, is to, number one, work on watercolor paper like I am here. You can also use a paper that's called Bristol, which has a nice sizing on it and will also let you dilute it out really well without getting streaks and lines. The other thing I recommend is to do it like I'm doing it here, where I put the swatch and then I immediately add the water, rather than swatching out all the colors and then going in and adding water. You want to do that fairly soon after you lay down the color, so you'll get your ultimate blending. And there I just laid down three different swatches of the graphite with various amounts of with various amounts of pressure so I could see the different grayscale I can get. Now I'm just working with blending these colors together just to see how well they do on their own without water. And I found that I could, if I went light over the darker color, I could get them to blend out pretty well. So that's just something handy to know. If you're coloring, if you color your shadows in first and then go in with a lighter color, you can actually blend it. And then with a little bit of water, I can get any of those colors that didn't blend as well to meld together and give me a really nice gradient. So I was really happy with the way these products performed on the paper that they included, and I think there's a lot of versatility with this month's supplies. I used a palette knife to remove that swatch sheet off the top of my block, and now I'm going to get into the art piece for today. I'm going to sketch on with a yellow because I know I wanted to do a couple slices of grapefruit, and I thought that kind of like yellow rind and pink flesh would look really nice because we have those colors, and I thought a purple background with some green leaves, grapefruit leaves on kind of the surface would look really cool too. By sketching in with my yellow, I've got nice light colors that I'll be able to kind of smudge out if they don't work out right. It just basically gave me a nice guideline that I could go in with darker colors. Now I'm using this more, it's kind of like a grapefruity pink color to sketch in the sections of my grapefruit flesh. And I'm being a little particular here, and honestly I don't need to because I came up with another idea as I was working that kind of made all of these lines a moot point, but drawing's fun, so hey, why not, right? I'm just trying to get the detail in that I want. This is a sliced piece of grapefruit, so I've got the thick pith, I've got the rind, I've got another piece in the back that I want to sketch in there, and I just really wanted to take advantage of the jewel tones of all of the products that came in this set. I thought I would start by coloring in the leaves, so I'm going in with that dark green color and then taking a lighter green and blending it out. I tried that mid green they had, but it was just a little too bright for these grapefruit leaves, so I decided just to go over it with the other green and just kind of spread it out. And now I'm putting another leaf overlapping that because I think it's interesting when you have things overlapping other things. It just adds interest. And the final leaf I'm actually going to have going off the page because I feel like it just kind of draws your eye through the scene, and we'll get to that in a second. You can use shades of yellow to brighten colors up. You can use a fine tip end of the darker color to get your veins in there. It's nice that the markers have two different tips. So if you wanted to like write a letter to somebody or write your name or do some journaling, you have the fine tip. It's a hard plastic tip that works really well. So you've got kind of a lot of versatility with those markers. Now I'm using the water brush with water just to blend some of the colors a little bit more. I decided I would go right in with my background because I'll be working with purple, and purple is a notoriously difficult color to blend, especially on a large area, but I really wanted that dark purple background. So I figured, well, I might as well get this in because if I mess up, I'd rather mess up at the beginning and have to start over than mess up at the end and have to start over. So I started with the darkest purple, and there's three purples in this kit. There's one that's kind of like a dark eggplant, and there's a kind of a medium color purple, and then there's like a kind of like a fuchsia-y purple, and I'm using the two purples that are more blue based and not the fuchsia one that's more pinky. And I'm just kind of going around the edges and trying to blend out that darker color. Now I'm using my water brush for the largest tip to just smooth out any of those colors a little bit more. Just be careful not to get any big puddles of water because then that could lift the color and lighten it up in areas where you don't want it. Just try to go for a nice, smooth, even effect here. You'll want to repeat that step for any other sections of that purple background that you have. So these are just kind of sitting on a table that was purple, and yeah, just wanted a pretty even look throughout the painting on the background. So the only thing to remember is that you want to make sure that that background's dry before you work on an area next to it. So for that reason, I am skipping to the inside sections of this fruit because I know that I'm not going to have wet fruit sections touching the background. So I was originally going to skip and do every other section of fruit, but then I realized that I had a technique that was going to work really well to give these slices of grapefruit a much more juicy and realistic look. And to do that, what you need to do is wet the entire fruit area, and then you want to really saturate it with ink or watercolor, whatever you're using. You want to have lots of color. Now the only thing to watch out for is too many puddles. So I'm using a pipette to soak up any big puddles of water, so I just have a really glossy wet surface but no standing water. And you really want to make sure you have a lot of ink. And the purple, yellow, and orange were just perfect for this. Now I'm going to take a piece of plastic wrap and press it down onto the paper, and I'm going to scrunch it and make tiny little sections, or as small as I can. And these little sections are going to look like the little packets of juice that are in each of the grapefruit sections. And I'm squishing it inward as I make these puckers. So hopefully only a little bit of ink will squish out to the outside. That's the only problem with this technique, is that you will end up losing your edges when it's done. And there you can see it all dry. You've got some really interesting texture. This works really great for painting watermelon because it gives it that icy look, and it's also nice for frosty window panes. So kind of file that trick away for the next time you want something to have a frosty look to it. Now for the background piece of fruit, I am just going to lay in some color because it's kind of out of focus and it really doesn't need a bunch of detail. The wet into wet technique is really good for getting those out of focus elements in your painting. So when you're working on damp paper, you can retain some brush strokes. If you have the paper really wet, you're not going to retain any brush strokes. So you can play with how damp or how wet your paper is to get the look that you want. Now I did have some color kind of spill outside of the fruit area onto the pith on the focal point grapefruit, and I'm trying to scrub some of that out, but it's not working that great because the dyes in the liquid watercolor do want to stain a little bit, so I'll have to cover that up with something else in a little while. I'm using that nice bright yellow ink on its own to do the rind of the grapefruit, and it really helps add some dimension, and not to mention give a really nice pop against the purple background. So I'm going and using that pretty much undiluted. Now you can also go ahead and paint the, and if you see any of the edge of the skin, you can put that in too. Take care to look for undertones, like this skin had a little bit of an orange undertone to it, so I'm tapping in some of that color just to separate it from the cut edge of the skin that we could see on the face of the grapefruit. And I'm dabbing in some little marks that I saw on the grapefruit pith, just to give it a little texture and a little character and a little detail. Now I'm trying to scrub out a little bit in the center too to get back to the white of the paper, but I realized this liquid watercolor, even though I think it's pigment based, it still stains quite a bit. So, you know, I wasn't able to lift back to the white. And it could be the paper as well. The Harmony paper is cellulose based, so it might not be as robust as their cotton versions. I'm using the marker direct to paper here and just kind of drawing in some of the little specks and the shadows that you would see in the little like juice pockets that are in the slices of grapefruit. And it does kind of just look like dashes and dabs, and really that's all it is right now. It's funny when you think about like a painting that you're looking at, when you see a finished painting, you don't realize what goes into all the different little steps, and how something that doesn't look realistic at all, you know, after you've layered up and you've added these different steps, can really look pretty cool. So So I guess what I'm saying is, don't let the hot mess stage in your painting discourage you from finishing it, because, you know, when I see somebody's painting that they're not happy with, it usually just looks like they need to put more time in it. I'm just not quite done yet, but they might not have the experience to know that they're so close to having a really wonderful painting. So just stick with it and keep experimenting, because even if the painting doesn't come out good, you're going to learn something and you're going to be the better for it. I'm also going in and adding some of these colors into the fruit in the background. I want kind of bigger, looser strokes back there because I don't want that to be as in focus, but I do need to have some direction and some, a little bit of detail there. Not as much as the front one, but I've got to have something. And there's also a little bit of a cast shadow from that first orange half casting onto that orange slice in behind. So that's that kind of half circle, darker red shape that you see there. I mixed up some of the marker, the purple marker, in with the yellow ink that I had on my palette to make kind of a gray, and I added that to the pith on the shadow area of the back grapefruit. And there I just touched up the spillover of ink onto the purple background using a purple marker. These markers are really easy to work with. They are a lot of fun, and you could definitely follow along with whatever water-based markers you have at home, even if they're Crayola. They don't have to be anything fancy. The point is that you create and that you find you know, materials that you can use, that you have access to. You don't have to have fancy things to follow along with my tutorials. Use what you have. I do think these boxes are so fun if you have the budget for them, if you're curious. It's just a great way to open your eyes and your mind up to new materials. I am using a white pencil from my stash just to brighten up some of the areas where the ink leaked and areas where I couldn't get back to the white of the paper. And I'm also using a white pen for that as well. So it really does help bring kind of some details up when you can add those bright white highlights at the end. So I would definitely recommend those in your drawing toolbox if you like to do watercolor, pen and ink, or anything like that. Now the orange in back, or the grapefruit in back, has some just kind of bigger highlights, and I'm just doing that by adding a little bit of ink and tapping it with my fingers to smudge it a little bit, and that gives me that less crisp highlight. I'm just puttering away a bit. My acrylic pen ran out of juice, so I grabbed a paint pen, just a gel pen instead. And I love colored pencils because they're slightly opaque, meaning I can alter the colors a little bit, brighten them up, but you can still see the base color underneath, so everything harmonizes really well. And you can use whatever colored pencils you have for that. They weren't in this kit, but I felt like it really helps add some depth and dimension to marker art, and even watercolor sometimes. So that's something I personally like to do. Of course, you don't need to do that. It's completely optional. But I think it's worthwhile. It'll also sharpen up any edges where if you had like the leaves were wet when you did your background and you got a little feathering on the edge, that will help. The color pencil will sharpen that edge up. And I decided I wanted my shadows a little darker, so I went back in with that darker marker, and I'm just kind of spreading it out with some water to give it some depth. So see what I mean? You just keep adding and layering until you're happy with the way it looks, and then, then you take a break, and when you think you're about 90% done, you take a break and then come back and look at it a couple hours later because you're probably done at that point, and that just keeps you from overworking a little bit. I hope you enjoyed this lesson, and if you want to get an art supply surprise delivered to your house every month, check out smartartbox.com. They are a monthly subscription kit, and they have really wonderful boxes. They've really upped their game lately, and I think you would enjoy them. Thanks for watching. Until next time, happy crafting.